What happens when a single chart shakes the foundation of global trade? When Donald Trump points, the world listens and reacts. Welcome to TVAI, your lens into global power moves and their real-world consequences. In a move as theatrical as it was strategic, former U.S. President Donald Trump returned to the political spotlight with a bold declaration. A comprehensive tariff overhaul targeting a slate of countries accused of abusing America's economic generosity. The announcement, which took place at the Freedom Leadership Forum in Houston, Texas, wasn't just another policy speech. It was a carefully orchestrated geopolitical bombshell. Standing at a dark mahogany podium beneath a massive American flag, Trump unveiled a large easel-backed chart. On it were the names of China, India, Mexico, and Vietnam, each highlighted in bold red. These are the countries that have drained our jobs, manipulated their currencies, and laughed at our trade deals for decades. Trump began, his voice firm, his finger stabbing the air toward each nation's name. The chart was color-coded: red for major offenders, yellow for secondary targets, and green for nations considered neutral or friendly trade partners. With each explanation, Trump took the audience on a guided tour through his vision of a new world trade order. One where the United States, he argued, would no longer be the piggy bank that everyone else robs. At first glance, it looked like a campaign prop. But make no mistake, this was a policy manifesto. The chart showed China, a proposed 60% tariff increase across tech, steel, automotive, and agricultural goods. India, 40% tariffs, focused on textiles, pharmaceuticals, and outsourcing services. Mexico, 30% tariffs, largely on automotive components and agricultural exports. Vietnam, 25% on electronics and furniture imports. Trump claimed these countries were serial violators of fair trade and accused them of manipulating markets, stealing intellectual property, and dumping cheap goods into the American economy. Behind the theatrics was a real shift in policy. According to insiders from the American Trade Reform Council, these tariffs are not merely symbolic. They're already being drafted into executive orders ready for activation within 90 days. Almost as soon as the press conference ended, global markets responded with a jolt. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 540 points within the hour. The Shanghai Composite fell nearly 3% overnight, while India's Sensex experienced a flash crash, shedding over 1,000 points by midday. Currency markets trembled. The Chinese yuan slid to its lowest point in 5 months, prompting rumors of potential intervention by the People's Bank of China. Meanwhile, the Mexican peso and Indian rupee faced mounting pressure as investors fled towards safe haven currencies like the US dollar and Swiss franc. Unsurprisingly, governments targeted by Trump's chart wasted no time in issuing statements and threats of retaliation. China's foreign ministry condemned the move as economic aggression veiled in nationalism, promising a firm and proportional response. Experts speculate China may counter with restrictions on rare earth exports or impose their own tariffs on American technology and agriculture. India's Commerce Minister called the tariffs unacceptable and regressive, and signaled possible legal action through the World Trade Organization. Mexico and Vietnam, while less confrontational in tone, warned that the tariffs could destabilize regional trade partnerships and supply chains critical to U.S. businesses themselves. While the political world digested the announcement, CEOs and business leaders across multiple industries began recalibrating. The American Chamber of Commerce, usually cautious in its criticism, issued a rare rebuke. Blanket tariffs may appear bold, but they are blunt instruments that often backfire on American workers, consumers, and exporters, the chamber said in a statement. Automotive sector. General Motors and Ford, both heavily reliant on parts from Mexico and electronics from China, issued warnings about likely price increases on consumer vehicles. Tech giants. Apple, Intel, and Qualcomm all have deep production ties to Vietnam and China. Replacing or relocating these operations isn't just expensive. It could take years. Retail and apparel. Walmart and Target signaled incoming price hikes as goods from India and Vietnam face new levies. Trump's move is widely seen as a campaign tactic aimed at re-energizing his base ahead of the upcoming election cycle. His messaging, "America has been robbed, and now we're locking the vault," resonates deeply with a portion of the electorate concerned about job outsourcing and perceived foreign exploitation. But even among Republicans, opinions are split. Senator Rand Paul called the strategy economically risky and potentially self-destructive, while others like Senator J.D. Vance praised it as a long-overdue correction. Democrats, meanwhile, accused Trump of undermining international diplomacy and economic stability in favor of short-term political gain. "This isn't leadership, it's economic brinkmanship," said Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Across the Atlantic and Pacific, headlines reflected global unease. The BBC described the press conference as a return to combative trade populism. Der Spiegel ran with the title, "The New Economic Cold War," while the Times of India framed the move as a wake-up call for the global south. International economists were more blunt. Nobel laureate Paul Krugman tweeted, "Tariffs this large, this fast, in this climate, this is not policy. It's a tantrum." Social media lit up with images of the now infamous chart. Memes spread rapidly. One viral post depicted Trump pointing at the chart with the caption, "Choose your fighter." All eyes are now on implementation. If Trump formalizes these tariffs through executive action, supply chains could face weeks, if not months, of disruption. Companies are preparing for a scenario many hoped they'd never revisit. Trade War 2.0. Lobbyists are flooding Washington, hoping to mitigate the scope. Meanwhile, unions are divided. Some welcome the pressure on foreign imports. Others fear job loss if foreign demand for U.S. exports collapses. Financial analysts are forecasting a bumpy road ahead. Inflation may spike temporarily, corporate profits may dip, and the Federal Reserve may once again face pressure to adjust interest rates in response to economic instability. For the average American, the impacts may not be immediate, but they are inevitable. Prices on electronics, clothing, and cars are likely to rise. Export-dependent jobs may hang in the balance. Farmers, still recovering from previous trade skirmishes, could lose international buyers overnight. For small businesses that rely on overseas suppliers, the uncertainty is a nightmare. One entrepreneur in Houston who imports custom furniture from Vietnam said it best, "Every time someone in Washington draws a line on a chart, I lose sleep for weeks." The economic historians are quick to point out the dangers of tit-for-tat tariff wars. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930, one of the most infamous policy blunders in American history, sparked a global trade collapse that helped turn a recession into the Great Depression. In 2018 and 2019, Trump's first trade war with China resulted in higher costs for American manufacturers and billions in subsidies for struggling farmers. Many wonder, at TVAI, we'll follow every move, reaction, and ripple effect.